Hello YouTube audience. Today is October the 30th, 2021 and today I want to do some fall update on some of my deciduous trees in training and so this is very good season for fertilizing and for trimming and even for trunk chop. So I would just go through the trees and look at the tree and see what's needed to be done, and if something need to be done, I would do them, and if not, I would just leave it alone and just give an update on it. So this is a chokecherry. It's a Pacific Northwest native tree, and I repotted it early this year, and it's not very strong throughout the years. Throughout the year, it probably has had less than 20 leaves on the tree, but tree is surviving nonetheless. And now we are seeing a lot of buds popping out along the branches, so this tree prepare next year's growth in the fall. And so next year it's going to grow hopefully better. I could do a trunk chop right now, but I would like the tree to gain more vigor next year, and before I do the trunk chop. So as a reminder, I think all the value of the tree is here with some nice movement. So I'm going to chop it relatively low. Maybe next fall, when the tree gain a lot of strength and I start seeing roots coming out of this container, then I will know that the tree is ready for a trunk chop. So this tree, when I repotted it, I did quite a risky operation because the root system was very chaotic. So I cut off about 90% of the roots, and knowing that it may or may not survive, but the tree is doing well and it's surviving. Next year it's probably going to start to thrive. This is probably a single flush tree, so I probably would prune it in either fall or spring. Now the plan is to prune it next fall, to do the trunk chop next fall after leaf fallen. So the other thing is, you know that I cut off 90% of the roots from this tree, and all those roots came here, and I just put the roots back into the original soil the plant came from, and now I have 2 more plants, and that's all the 90% of the roots, of which maybe 80% is here, 10% is here. So it all grow. So this is a very nice plant to grow from root cuttings. So what happened is, this plant had a very strong tap root, which was this root. This was the tap root of this plant, and it hit the bottom of the container and it made a 90-degree turn. I hope you can see this 90-degree turn, and most of the root grow from there. And this is obviously not ideal, so I cut off that tap root and regrow. Hopefully we can redevelop a root plane here. But now I've took the risk and win in this bet. I not just have one plant surviving, that's the original plant I like, but I also have two more of the choke cherries. So at this time, I'm not going to do anything to these plants. They have been fertilized. So these are the little bits. I don't know if you can see these little spherical beads. They are the fertilizer. So they have already been fertilized, and it's a slow release fertilizer. So it's going to last for the fall. So this tree is ready. It just have to have a good sleep in the winter, and next year it's going to grow very well. And also these root cuttings could be very nice. I may give it to a friend for him to grow these in his garden or something like that, or I may keep this one with the unique 90-degree turn. Maybe make a special bonsai out of it, but I'm pretty happy with this result. So that's it for this tree. It doesn't need any work at this time, so I'm just going to move on to the next tree. The thing about developing a bonsai from scratch is that it doesn't need to be worked on every single time. Not necessarily every season, but also you don't need to work on it even every year. If it's growing well, then just keep fertilizing it and keep it growing. Be a good gardener, then that could be sufficient. And this is a Amer cork tree, and it has compound leaf, and pretty nice movement at the base. I just don't like this long section of no movement. So I'm probably going to cut this off. And this is a little bit late of the year. I should cut it off right after leaf drop so that it's not completely dormant yet. The tree now is completely dormant. So it's not going to heal the wound, but I can seal the wound, so hopefully next year it's going to be fine. So I'm going to do the trunk chop now, but I need the pruner, so I'm going to get it. little bit of water, a little bit of water. I always forget something every time. Probably it will provide some negative space for the video, for people to just look at the trees and all. Okay, I'm going to prune it. This straight section will come off. I'm going to prune it horizontally so that it has equal chance to bud out from all directions. This one is thick and it's probably difficult to do a cutting out of this thick branch. It would be a good thing to do a air layering above, but I forgot to do it this year, so I'm just going to throw this away. And now, because it's already completely dormant, so I need to seal it. I'm going to use a sealant. This is supposed to be a very good bonsai sealant, but to use it I would need to wet my fingers, and people complain about this sealants mainly because it sticks to the fingers, but if you just wet your finger, it's not going to stick to it. Okay, so then water would not come out from here, and hopefully it's going to create a lot of branches next year. Pruning in fall has the advantage of not really, at least when the tree has dropped its leaf, it doesn't really cost the tree a lot of energy because it doesn't have any leaves anyway. So I'm also going to fertilize a little bit. So next year it's going to have a strong recovery. Because all the leaves has dropped, so there's very few energy on the top of the tree. Most energy are stored in the root system. So this time when I cut it, it's not going to cost the tree a lot. Next year it's just going to remake new buds and grow new leaves. So, but if I did it a little bit earlier, just right after leaf drops, the tree is still has a little bit activity, it would be even better because it can heal the wound a little bit before it go completely dormant. But now this tree is completely dormant, so the wound would not heal until next spring. So that's why I need to seal it. If I do this in the middle of the summer, it's going to cost a little bit of the energy, but it also heals very fast. So I may not need to seal it then. Okay. This is an Indian plum, and it's in very good state. So I repotted it. This repot, it has a crazy root base too, but I deal with it differently. So instead of trying to create a traditional flat root base, this one I try to accentuate the strange root system, almost like a people walking. So I did not have to cut off much root. So the tree is growing very strongly. So all this growth, it's probably 2 feet of, or 3 feet of growth is this year's growth. So it was just a bud in the beginning of the year. So the tree is growing very strongly. And I think I can do any pruning that I like. I don't have to wait. So I'm going to do a lot of pruning at this time. So first thing, this very long shoot. Oh, and also, this was the major trunk and it goes very long. So also I cut off the trunk. I did a trunk chop at the beginning of the year, and I also make some cuttings, and some of them survive. So let's see, I cut the original trunk into several pieces, and the fun thing about this, it's hollow like a bamboo. And let's see, I cut the original trunk into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces. There are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Probably 4 cuttings survive, so I has a little bit less than half of the success rate. I just cut the trunk into several pieces and stuck them into the original soil the plant came from. So it's pretty good. Success rate is pretty good. So I can remove those that are not successful and throw them into trash, and just keep those that are good. So I can see the one that fails, they are shriveled up and they do not have new bud form on them. While those successful ones, they are still like pumped full of water, so probably there is a root system under it. That's why they are pumped full of water. And also they have bud forming for the next year's growth. So I have 4 of them. So 1 plant become 5 plants. I'm pretty happy with that. These little plants I'm just going to fertilize. These are slow release fertilizers, so it should last for the whole fall. So fall season is a good time for root growth, so that's why I'm fertilizing it. Just because the plant doesn't have leaves doesn't mean it's not growing. The roots and the trunk tissues, they are growing. So I'm fertilizing them. So now I need to deal with this main tree. Because I already have a lot of cuttings, so I probably don't need more cuttings. Unless I'm doing an experiment. Unless I want to do an experiment comparing cutting from the spring and cutting from fall, which one is better, but I'm not doing it. I have enough trees. So first I need to cut off this long branch that's sacrificial. It's about 2 feet. All this year's growth. I don't need it. And I can probably clean it up a little bit better. I think it's done its job, thickening the trunk. Now I want to cut it better so it heals better next year. I think that's okay. And also I will need to seal it. So this tree really is in a prime time for pruning because we still see one leaf on it. So it just finished dropping the leaf. So it's probably still have a little bit capability of healing this wound. And now we need to deal with the branches. I'm trying to see if we have a little bit flexibility in this branch. Not much flexibility. So I don't really want to wire it. I probably just prune it. Just use clip and grove. It's a little bit flexible, but not very flexible. So I'm going to prune it short to encourage back budding next year. So I see a dormant bud here, so next year it's probably, hopefully, my hope is it will grow out this direction. And this is the trunk line, this is the front of the tree. So I'm going to cut this short. And I see a dormant bud here. Hopefully next year it's going to grow out this way. For this back branch, I'm just shorten it. And I'm not going to do a cutting on these trees because I have already a lot of cuttings, so, and also successful cuttings, so I don't need them. I'm just going to compost them. That's fine. And the main leader, I'm still letting it to grow. I'm not cleaning the not pruning the main leader now. I still need it to grow stronger. Maybe I will prune it next year. And also these stumps, I'm not dealing with them yet. I'm going to deal with the stumps next summer when it can heal these wounds. And the smaller branches, I'm not going to seal. Because it has limited ability to lose moisture. The wounds are small and I don't need to seal those. And if it dies, doesn't matter, it will regrow. So that's this tree. I'm probably going to fertilize it a little bit. So this fertilizer is high nitrogen fertilizer, 15-9-12. So bonsai people don't normally use fertilizer. That's more than, so the fertilizer normally is described in 3 major numbers. So 15 is nitrogen. The first number is always nitrogen. 9 is phosphate, and 12 is potassium. So these are the macronutrients that the plant needs. So the number one thing the plant needs is nitrogen. But too much nitrogen is going to induce very long growth, and to keep the internodes, the distance between 2 branches is the internode. To keep the internodes short, bonsai people don't normally use a NPK value higher than 10, but this is a plant very early in its development. A lot of the branches may not end up in the final design, so it's not really that critical to give it a high-end value fertilizer. It's fine. We are just building up the tree right now. So that's this tree done pruning. I'm just going to do a quick turn. Okay, so this is the fall pruning and fertilizing for this Indian plum. I have a lot of native trees, so let's do the native trees first. So the next, we are going to look at this. This is a buckthorn. You cannot even see the top of the tree, so it's relatively tall. Nope, you cannot see the top, but you know it's about 3 feet, a little bit, maybe 4 feet tall tree. And also in the beginning of the year, I did a repotting and cut off 50% of the root. But this tree does well, pretty well. And also the root I cut off is half the root is here. I just put the root back into the original soil it came from, and it grows from there. Probably need to add some soil. Maybe a squirrel try to dug this thing up. Oh. So I don't like the squirrel ducking things up, but it's probably their nature to find things in the soil. Maybe squirrel, maybe bird, I don't know, but something is trying to duck it out. But it just tilted this one. It doesn't really kill it, so it survived the bird or squirrel attack fine. Next year, I'm probably going to pot it into repot it into bonsai soil. Hopefully birds or squirrels are not as interested in bonsai soil, because bonsai soil doesn't look like soil. They look more like rocks, and there are probably less bug in it. So this plant I'm going to do the trunk chop this year, because the tree is quite healthy. Although it didn't push out another flesh, but the tree is basically unaffected. So 50% root pruning doesn't seem to affect it, but the tree is not dormant yet. The leaves is starting to turn color, but I will wait until the leaves fall. After the leaf fall, we are not going to waste any energy, because currently when the leaf is turning color, the tree is recycling the energy or the nutrients in the leaf and taking it back to the root system. So if I cut it now, the root would not have enough energy for the winter, so it may suffer next year. But after the leaf turn its color and start to drop, I can do the trunk chop. So I will wait for maybe 1 more month or 2, or I think less than 2 months, maybe 1 more month. The tree will be ready for the trunk chop. This tree, I should fertilize it, but it's getting too full. The container I accidentally add too much soil to it. So I probably need to take some soil out. These are great soil, very good soil. Has a lot of pumice in it. It's probably some soil that's left over from when I was repotting, so very, very good soil. Okay, now I'm going to fertilize this one. Seedlings, they need a lot of fertilizer because I need them to grow. This is probably going to grow into a clump style tree. Clump style. At this point, it's not meaningful to prune it yet because it's not, the trunks are not thick enough to be trunks. It's just like a seedling. But it's of course a root cutting. So when I repot this plant, I cut off 50% of the root and repot the roots in here, and this is the result of the root cutting growing out. So now I also have 2 plants from this. So I will wait for maybe 1 more month until this tree, the leaves completely turn yellow. When it turns yellow, I'm going to do a trunk chop here and do a chop here. So next year it's going to grow from here, preserving all the movement, and also probably the first branch, and that it's probably going to become a pretty nice bonsai from here. Okay, this is also a Pacific Northwest native, so it would be pretty nice. Okay, this one is done for now. Next up, I have a ginkgo. So ginkgo biloba, it's a very nice young plant. It's actually a grafted tree. So these tapes are here for this bamboo stick to hold the plant so that it doesn't break, because it's probably grafted not long ago, so the graft union could break if got shaken forcefully, especially with strong wind or in the process of transportation. But the bamboo stick is actually, oh, the bamboo stick is still working. Oh, I thought the bamboo stick is not actually working. That's why I removed the tapes, knowing that it's working. I would need to do something. Yeah, because the bamboo stick will prevent the trunk